All right, all right. It's the I Bring It Every Day show. And my name is Kelly, and welcome in. So today is, and please like, share, and subscribe. All right, I'll go with that. Okay. So hello, this is I Bring It Every Day show. This is Kelly. My name is Kelly. And today we're going to be talking about motivation. And the goal of Motivation Monday is to start the week off on a positive note, to set the intentions for what you want to do for the week and then move forward. And so what I like to do as part of this is I like to look at fairly successful people, look at some of their life quotes, and see what was on their minds while they were living their lives. So today, I didn't put it in today's title, but today I want to talk a little bit about Jimmy Carter, who was the 39th president of the United States. And he passed at the end of December in 2024. And it's really interesting. Like most people's lives, I think his life was complicated. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but it's funny. Life is, people are, I don't know how to put this. People's lives, there's the public life, there's the private life. And you sort of know like what are on people's minds, by some of the quotes that people sort of write down about them or that are attributed to this person. And hopefully today, I just want to do a little touch on the highlights of Jimmy Carter and why, his life story can be a good aspiration for a lot of people. And let's see what the people are saying. So let me say hi to the people in the chat real quick and say, once again, thank you so much for coming in. So let's see, we got Miss Shatika, one of the greatest supporters of the, she supports the crochet community, but she supports a lot of people on YouTube. So thank you so much. You got Love Crochet Babe, 65. Good morning, Kelly. Great start to the week with uplifting motivation. We'll be lurking. All right now. Awesome. We got Miss Rosalie's Craft Some More. Good morning. Thank you so much for coming. And Sweet Pea Sid is here. Also another crafter. And then we got TWP Popcorn. What's popping? And good morning. Okay. So I'm just going to touch on the highlights of Jimmy Carter. And then we'll, and then I'll talk and I'll show you some of his greatest, quotes of aspiration and then inspiration, right? And then hopefully, we'll start our day that way. All right now. And we have Geeky Girls Journal. Welcome in. Yes, that's great. Oh, wow. And the Crazy Populace here. Well, welcome in. Long time no see. Lurking. All right now. She's saying hi to everybody. All right, I'm going to take a sip. I made some extremely bad coffee this morning, and I'm very sad about it. But I just opened the can, and I don't know. It's not good. But anyway, I need a little sip. And we got 4 T's here. Hello. Motivation Monday. Thank you. Good morning, y'all. All right now. Welcome from Indonesia. All right now. It's exciting. Okay, so I'm going to be doing a little reading. I know this isn't perfect, and I'm not going to do slides or anything crazy like that, but I'm going to just talk about Jimmy Carter a little bit. Okay, and then we'll get back to, we'll start. Okay, so the bottom line is, okay, let me just go back. So one of the things that, I've always been thinking about, and like I said, I always like to listen to people who have accomplished a lot in their lives. And one of the people that accomplished a lot was Jimmy Carter. And he was James Earl Carter Jr. He was born October 21st, 1924, and he lived to be 100, and he passed away December 29th, 2024. Sorry. So 100 years. He was 100 years old, which is amazing, right? And not too many people make it to 100, right? And he was president. Let's go over here. Yes. Okay. So he was the 39th president of the United States, and his term was from 1977 to 1981. He was a Democratic candidate from the state of Georgia. Now, prior to that, he was, let's see, he was the governor of Georgia. And what else did he do? Oh, he did so many things. But anyway, he was the governor of Georgia and then became president, shortly thereafter. But one of the things throughout his life is that he definitely fought for civil rights and world peace. And ironically, that's kind of been my my goals in life: civil rights and world peace. So it's very, very interesting. Yeah. Not that we have a lot in common, but I'm just saying, some of his goals in life were those, right? Okay. Now let's go to his accolades, because I think this is what I want to just talk about. What happened to him in his life? Okay. Let's see here. Now, of course, I clicked off the page, and I'm missing some stuff here. Let me just go back to this one. But like I said, he was definitely somebody who they did not expect to become president. He didn't come from a big fancy family. And I don't know if you've all noticed, but a lot of these presidents have come from well-connected, well-to-do families, right? And that's really the thing that, if you think about it, he's one of those few people that kind of came from nothing and became something, right? Let's see. Let's go to his education. We'll do that first. Okay. All right. So this is, and I'm reading this straight from the Carter Center, which is his life's work, after he left office. Okay. So he went to public school. He was from Plains, Georgia. He went to Georgia Southwestern College and the Georgia Institute of Technology, where he received a Bachelor's of Science. Oh, actually, and received a Bachelor of Science from the Naval Academy. So he went to the U.S. Naval Academy in 1946. He served in both Atlantic and Pacific fleets, rising to the rank of lieutenant. He was assigned to the nuclear engineer. What do they call it? The nuclear. Sorry, I'm bad reading. Nuclear physics. Yeah, the nuclear submarine program. And then he did graduate work at the Union College in reactor technology in nuclear physics. Yeah. And then he was served as a senior officer of the pre-commissioning crew of the Seawolf, the second nuclear submarine. Okay, so he married his wife, Rosalind Smith, of Plains, Georgia. And I forget how many years they remained married, because I can't find it. But the bottom line is, they were married about 67 years, maybe. It was a lot. They were married a long time. And they were clearly in love with each other, and they supported each other throughout their marriage. So it was pretty cool. Let's see. So, but the bottom line is, he was also a peanut farmer. And that's the whole thing that a lot of people don't talk about. He was actually a farmer. And it came from very, very meager means. Okay. So he was an author. They're saying that he wrote 32 books. And I'll just name some of these. It's like, Why Not the Best? 1975. Here's another one. A Government as Good as Its People? 1977. Keeping Faith? Memoirs of a President. The other thing he talked about was negotiation. And, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. Yes. Oh, okay. Let me take a little sip. So I see Call Me V. Hello. All right now. She's saying, farmers are the best people to know. I will tell you, I never really was attached to farmers or knew much about farmers until I moved, kind of toward central Pennsylvania, and we do live amongst them, and they are very interesting. They're different from any people I've ever met. I will tell you. So I've been around. I've been to, not to talk about myself, but I've been to almost all of the states in the United States at some point or another, and spent a little bit of time, and have met a lot of people along the way. And I will tell you, farmers are just a whole different thing. Their whole view of life is different, and that's a whole nother conversation. But that's just an example of one. Oh, here's an hour before daylight. Memories of a rural boyhood, 2001. Okay. And then he won the Nobel Peace Prize. And that that lecture that he gave was published in 2002. See, he became a university distinguished professor at Emory University in Atlanta later in his career. Let's see. So his Carter Center, they talk about conflict mediation in multiple countries around the world. And he was basically, I don't know if he was officially an ambassador, but he kind of took it upon himself once he left his term, because he was a one-term president, to actually do as much good in the country, in the world, as he could. And he also tried to definitely use negotiation as his means of getting closer to people in different countries. Okay. So those are some of the little highlights there. Okay, let me just go back here. But anyway, he has some very interesting quotations, that he's done throughout the years. And I put a couple of them in the description in this live stream. So you can go back and take a look at them. And I'm going to go through a few of these. But let's see. Oh boy, there's a lot going on here. But anyway, it's very interesting. So his life was pretty interesting, and I think, like I said, the two big takeaways for me. Oh, and the other thing I just wanted to mention too is that he did spend a lot of time when he was growing up along the way. One of the areas where he lived was amongst African Americans, and so, and then I think he like a lot of people from the South and people back in those days, they had a person that worked for them, a Black woman who pretty much reared him while his mother was working, because his mother did work as a nurse. And nursing schedules are terrible. Like it's all over the place. So she needed childcare to kind of take care of him, while the mother was working, and the father was working the farm. And when you work a farm, there's a lot of time in there as well. So that you have to put in. And just an example, I met a lady in one of the last jobs that I had, and her husband grew tobacco, of all things, in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And she used to try to call her husband, on his cell phone, and it was rare that he would ever pick up. But one time she called him, and it was like 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and she was like, "Did you eat your lunch?" And I remember I kind of heard him say, "No, I didn't get a chance yet. I'm going to get to it. I saw it on the table. I'm going to get it." Well, anyway, the thing that was funny about I asked her, because I don't really know much about tobacco and the whole growing of the thing, and I didn't even know you could grow tobacco north of the Mason-Dixon line. But just as a little aside, Lancaster, Pennsylvania is one of the larger areas where they grow tobacco. That being said, so anyway, but her husband grew tobacco, and she said that he would leave the house at 4:30 in the morning. And can anybody guess what time he got home at night? And if anybody wants to type that in the chat, I just wanted to let you know. But just to show you how crazy the farming hours are. And like I said, me being all new to all this, I really was not aware. But we got cruising is fun anytime. Hello. We got frugal mama. Hello. But I'm going to take a little almost midnight. Wow. 10 to, yep. Sweet Pea said got it. So it's the Call Me V said 6. Yep. So she said most times he would get home, it would be 8:30, 9 o'clock. So, she's a little closer. But so I don't even know how many hours. Somebody can do the math on that. So yeah, 4:30 in the morning till about 8 8:30, 9:30 at night. Yeah. So that's the crazy hours. So you know that his mother needed childcare. Okay. So these are some of the awards that Jimmy Carter got. Okay. So he got the Nobel Peace Prize in 2002. Um, he was in World War II and he got a World War II Victory Medal. He got a China Service Medal. He got 3 Grammy Awards. This is funny. I mean, interesting. He got 3 Grammy Awards, one in 2019, one in 2016, and 2007 for Best Audiobook Narration. He got the Indira Gandhi Prize in 1997, the Fulbright Prize in 1994, the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is the highest civilian award that you can get, in 1999. The National Defense Service Medal, the United Nations Prize in the field of human rights, the Albert Schweitzer Prize for humanitarian. I can't even say it. Humanitarianism. Okay, so one more time: the Albert Schweitzer Prize for humanitarianism. Oh my goodness. Oh, well, it's early. But anyway, that's it. So those are just some of the accolades. It's sort of a really crazy snippet of Jimmy Carter. And let me see. I just want to talk a little bit about what he accomplished during his presidency. There's only a few things. So anyway, Jimmy Carter's kind of complicated because he excelled at certain things, and then certain things fell through. And one of them was the Iran hostage situation that happened. Okay. And that's the reason why pretty much his presidency went one of the main reasons. But also too, he was fairly I would say religious in his views. And I think that may have rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Oh, but the other thing is he taught Sunday school. Even I don't know, I don't think he did during his presidency, but he taught Sunday school in his church prior to his presidency and then after he left. And until a certain point in time, and I can't remember how long, but they were talking about all these people said, "Oh yeah, I used to go to Sunday school with the president," which is really funny. Very interesting. It's Iran. Yeah, it's Iran. Yep. Yeah, and people in the U.S. mispronounce it, and it's ironic because I try not to mispronounce it that way, but it's Iran. Yep. 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 Let's see. All right, let's go here. Let's see. Accomplishments. Yeah, let's go here. But anyway, he was the longest lived president, ex-president. And he just, like I said, he just passed away, but he was 100. All right, so here's some of the things that he did in office. And I just want to talk a little bit about this as well. And okay, here we go. So he created, now this is very interesting. He created the Department of Energy and the Department of Education. And for people who might have been around or might not have been around during those times, there was a huge energy crisis. And the gasoline in the United States and oil was like a real short supply. And people were waiting in line to get gasoline, prior to this. So it was like a big deal. So that's why he, developed the Department of Energy to try to figure out some ways around some of this stuff. And then he also created the Department of Education, which I think is amazing, right? Because education can unlock a lot of potential in people, whether it's trade or, for the mind, right? Okay. And then let's see, where's the other one? Yes. So here's something a little bit controversial, and I can sort of speak to this. So there was a Soviet invasion in Afghanistan, and what they did was during the 1980 Olympics, Carter asked people to boycott those Olympics, because I believe they were where were they? They were in Russia. Yes, And what they did was he asked the athletes not to go, right? And so that was really controversial, and I didn't really think about it. At the time. I was very, very young, and I kind of said, okay, well, it kind of makes sense. Like, I thought it made sense, but then I met somebody who was on the Olympic team, like later, years later, and this person was on the track team, and they said to me, Cal, like, that killed my track career, because this person was a little bit older, and that was their one shot to be in the Olympics, and they didn't get a chance to go because the U.S. team boycotted. And I never thought about it from that standpoint. I was just thinking, yeah, we gotta, fight for fight for the humanitarian, causes and everything, peace and things like that. And he said, well, yeah, that's all well and good, but guess what? I didn't get to go to the Olympics. And I went, and he trained, years to get there. So just, you know what I mean? Got to look at both sides, right? Yes. Yes. Okay. Now, the Iran hostage, crisis, because, the hostages, he was not able to get them out before the end of his term. And I think consequently, when Ronald Reagan came into office right after that, of course they let the hostages out, right? And it made him look great, but it made Carter look crazy, right? Or weak. I mean, it was one of those deals. So that's what happened. So he kind of left office on a very low note. But I think he redeemed himself. And this is kind of where I'm trying to get to all this stuff. Let's see. Here we go. So anyway, they say polls of historians and political scientists have ranked his presidency as below average, but his post-presidency, which was the longest in U.S. history, is viewed more favorably. Okay, so let's go. I'm going to try to see if I can talk about. So this is and without me like doing so much reading. But anyway, he excelled in the Navy. He went to the West Point. Yeah, no. Where do you? No, he went to the Naval Academy. Yes, so that's a big deal, right? Getting in there is hard. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So he and his family had supported, John F. Kennedy. He was for literacy tests, and let's see. See, the last thing I wanted to say here. He worked extensively with Habitat for Humanity, and that's one of the things that I think I admire him for. And Habitat for Humanity. I'm not sponsored, and this is kind of coming from my head, but he actually went out, and even when he was president, they were building houses. And so what they do is they give underserved people and very, very poor people chances to own homes. And part of the process with Habitat for Humanity is they actually have to do some of the work in the houses. So where I live, there are about 10 Habitat for Humanity houses, and it's very interesting to see the pictures. So if any of you guys shop at those stores, those are run through Habitat for Humanity. And what a lot of people donate to those stores are excess products, like paint, tiles, flooring, furniture, any kind of tools, screws, all kinds of stuff like that. There was one, the Habitat for Humanity by my house had kitchen. No, they were bathroom sinks. I think they're, those little round bathroom sinks that you see. I don't know what era these things were, but they had rooms full of them. And it was the funniest thing. And these sinks were like $3. You could get a bathroom sink for $3. And they were all white. It was like, and they just had piles of them. And so a lot of these, and I noticed that I think it's, the larger hardware stores, donate some stuff. So you do see, brand new flooring, you see, a lot of new stuff. So it's really, really cool. So anyway, so Habitat for Humanity is one of those things that, is near and dear to my heart. I donate money. I haven't donated time, but that's kind of on the, one of the bucket lists. And he definitely spent a lot of time, he and his wife, doing that. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. And let's see. So my husband wanted me to mention the Peanut Brigade. And the Peanut Brigade, because, during the time when he was campaigning, nobody knew about him. And a lot of the people from his area, would go and help him campaign. And so that was kind of cool. So that was one of the things. And they, because he was a peanut farmer, he'd always say, and he always wanted to be called Jimmy. He didn't want to be called James, which I thought was very, very interesting. Yes. Let's see. Yes. Yes. The USSR. That's right. Yep. Russia. That's correct. Yes. And and good morning. So we got Ariel and Angela and G-Quad. Hello, Auntie Ellen. Doing your PTOT. Okay. So thanks for coming. So anyway, so there it is. So like I said, his presidency was from 1977 to 1981. And let's see, what else did he do? Oh, he signed into the bill for Asian American Heritage Week while he was in there in office. I did not know that. Just saw that. Just jumped off the page. Let's see. It says unemployment rate declined from 8.1% when he took office to 5.7, which was still bad, but it got better while he was in office. Let's see. He had double-digit inflation. This is another reason why his presidency was a little bit, problematic but during that time. And let's see. Anything else? Yeah, I guess that's good. Well, we'll go there. But like I said, and then he won the Nobel Peace Prize, which is a big deal. And he did a lot of, campaigning for world peace. And, but anyway, that's sort of a little snippet. And there's more, and like I say, do your research and read more about him. But he had a very long-lived life. But let me talk about some of his quotes. And this is why we're all here. All right. And so I know I didn't do that well, but I just kind of wanted to show you some of the things that he's done. Okay. So here's the first one. This is a long one. And I'll do this one here. Okay. He says, I have one life and one chance to make it count for something. My faith demands that I do whatever I can, wherever I am, whenever I can, for as long as I can, with whatever I have to try to make a difference. Okay. That's a long one. And I'm going to take a sip and I'll do that one again. And this is similar. Somebody else kind of said something similar to this earlier too. Here we go. I have one life and one chance to make it count for something. My faith demands that I do whatever I can, wherever I am, whenever I can, for as long as I can, with whatever I have to try to make a difference. And so, and I think about, like I said, he negotiated with a lot of different countries, to try to make treaties, and the biggest one that I remember was with Anwar Sadat and Begin from Israel. It was Egypt and Israel, in trying to talk through some of that. That was very interesting. Two sworn enemies, So anyway, that's the first. I guess that's really, when you think about life, that's the way you should sort of approach your life. You should always try to do the best you can to try to make a positive influence on people wherever you can. And I think I'm hoping that's what I'm doing now. Yes. So there it is. Okay. But I'm just going to keep going. Here's another one. I believe that anyone can be successful in life, regardless of natural talent or the environment within which we live. This is not based on measuring success by human competitiveness for wealth, possessions, influence, and fame, but adhering to God's standards of truth, justice, humility, service, compassion, forgiveness, and love. Wow, that's a good one. All right. I'm going to do that one again. It's long, but and let me know what you think, of some of these quotes. These are really interesting. But like I said, go back and do your research because, like I said, his life was so long and I'm doing it I'm not saying a disservice, but, there's so much more to what he did. But I just wanted to sort of touch on, some of the things that he did just to kind of get you thinking about, what are you going to do? When you leave here, what are you going to do? Uh, like, what is your legacy? What do you want your legacy in life to be? You know, so just things to think about. Hmm. All right, let's go to the next one. So one more time. I believe that anyone can be successful in life, regardless of talent and environment within which we live. This is not based on measuring success by human competitiveness for wealth, possessions, influence, and fame, but to adhering to God's standards of truth, justice, humility, service, compassion, forgiveness, and love. All right. Oh, here's a real quick one that kind of builds on that one too. And he said, we should live our lives as though Christ were coming this afternoon. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but it is interesting, right? People would live differently if they knew, right? So, one more time, we should live our lives as though Christ were coming this afternoon. Okay. All right. Now, this is interesting. And this is pretty much the way he lived his life. You only have two loves in your life, for God and for the person in front of you at any particular time. Wow. That's a good one. So, you have two loves in your life, for God and for the person in front of you at any particular time. Yes. All right, now, thank you, 14. Now, let's talk about like regular life. He says failure is a reality. We all fail at times, and it's painful when we do. But it's better to fail while striving for something wonderful, challenging, and adventurous and uncertain than to say, I don't want to try because I may not succeed completely. So, and that's life, and I think a lot of people don't try because they don't want to fail. But you never know. You might be successful if you do. But if you don't, like somebody said, and I can't remember who said it, but if you don't try, you're going to hit every goal. And I always thought that was kind of funny, right? And then another thing he said was to be true to ourselves, we have to be true to others. So there's a lot of talking about telling the truth, not lying, not being fake, not looking for material gain, looking for, human gain, right? Oh, I love this one too. Here we go. The measure of society is found in how they treat their weakest and most helpless citizens. Yeah, that's amazing. Okay. All right. And I think I put this one in the description. Let us learn together and laugh together and work together and pray together, confident that in the end, we all triumph together in the right. I did not put that in there, but I will. So one more time. Let us learn together and laugh together and work together and pray together, confident that in the end, we will triumph together in the right. And then, oh, this one I did put in. We have a tendency to condemn people who are different from us, to define their sins as paramount and our sinfulness as being insignificant. Right. So we have a tendency to condemn people who are different from us, to define their sins as paramount and our own sinfulness as being insignificant. So all these deep thoughts, you know what I mean? Let's see. Ah, the bond of our common humanity is stronger than the divisiveness of our fears and prejudices. One more time. The bond of our common humanity is strongest than the divisiveness of our fears and prejudices. All right. Let's see. Let's keep going. Trying to think. Those were the good ones. Oh, okay. And this is a good one too. This is talking about perseverance. Tremendous progress can be made if we persevere through difficult challenges. That's a good one. Okay. All right. Oh, here's another one. Talking about holding on to your principles. This is a good one. We must adjust to changing times and still hold on to unchanging principles. And I think a lot of this stuff really, holds to his faith. Let's see. Okay. And he said, earlier in my life, I thought the things that mattered were the things that you could see, like your car, your house, your wealth, your property, your office. But as I've grown older, I've become convinced that these things that matter most are the things that you can't see. The love you share with others, your inner purpose, your comfort with who you are. Ooh, that's a good one. Yep. And then following on that, well, there's a couple. There's a couple follow-ups to that one. Let me do that one again, just to sort of let that one sink in. Earlier in my life, I thought that the things that mattered were the things that you could see, like your car, your house, your wealth, your property, your office. But as I've grown older, I've become convinced that the things that matter most are the things that you can't see. The love you share with others, your inner purpose, your comfort with who you are. Right. And then I'll do two more. And I think this is kind of where these are the ones that really like resonated with me. And then he says, piling up material goods cannot fill the emptiness of lives, which have no confidence or purpose. So one more time. Piling up material goods cannot fill the emptiness of lives, which have no confidence or purpose. Yeah. And then he says, what are the things that you can't see that are important? I would say justice, truth, humility, service, compassion, love. They are the guiding lights of a life. Yes. Oh, and this is a good one. So I don't know. So like I said, all these things, he was very wise. And I really think that, like I said, I don't know if you guys watched his funeral. I watched pieces of it. I was kind of coming in and coming out. But if they ever I think it's probably on YouTube somewhere, but they interviewed his grandchildren, his couple of his grandsons, I think. And they said like really cool things about him, And it sounded like, because I guess because he was 100, they were sad to see him go, but they were kind of like, he had a good life. It was good. And they kind of talked about, growing up around him. Right? But this is what he says about marriage. I think this is funny. Or good. This is useful, actually. He said, it's hard to live until you're 95 years old. So this was 5 years ago. I think the best explanation for that is to marry the best spouse, someone who will take care of you and engage and do things to challenge you, to keep you alive and interested in life. And I think that speaks like volumes about their marriage. Yep. So he said, so I'm going to just paraphrase a little bit. So he said, the reason why he lived to 95 at that point, when he made this quote, he said, I think the best explanation for that is to marry the best spouse, someone who will take care of you and engage and do things to challenge you and keep you alive and interested in life. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Suzanne. Yeah, he he was a little deeper than I think. See, like I said, because his presidency ended kind of, on a not so positive note, I think people didn't realize, like what a national treasure he kind of was. Like I started reading these quotes, I guess, but I heard, when I heard like he was getting, ill or whatever, And I started sort of reading up on him a little bit, and I said, "Wow, he's had some really interesting things here." Okay. Oh, okay. This is interesting what he says about his wife. He goes, "I never won an argument with her. The only times I thought I had, I found out the argument wasn't over yet." so, so, so we know who was running things in that house, right? Yes, and I think a good husband has to depend on having a good wife. That's just one little thing there. And then he said, "Oh my goodness," he said, "the best thing I ever did was marrying Rosalind. That's the pinnacle of my life." So that's love right there. Yes. Okay. Woo, this is good. Yeah, there's more. I mean, I can keep going. I mean, it's crazy, right? Yeah. Let's see. He says, like music and art, love of nature is a common language that can transcend political or social boundaries. Yeah. And then he said, "I have never been happier, more exhilarated, at peace, rested, inspired, and aware of the grandeur of the universe and the greatness of God than when I find myself in a natural setting. Not much change from the way he made it." Wow. So, in other words, he's saying, like, when he goes back to nature, he feels at peace. And I can say, like, when I moved to the country, I kind of felt the same way. And I would say, if you don't live in the country and you don't mind, a little bit of the being out out and about from all the hustle and bustle, it is very peaceful for sure. And that's one of those things. Oh, go back where we come. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Because we did come from nature and we sort of built this false world of cities and stuff. Yeah. Yep. But it is. And it does. And you feel good. Yeah, that's right. Ryu, thank you so much. Yeah. So let's see. All right. All right. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, here's some quotes about America or the USA. And then I'll see but let's see, how long are we? Oh, 42 minutes. Oh, longer than I thought. But like I said, this guy had a lot to say. And I would say I would encourage anybody to read any of those books that he did. Because like, it just goes on and on. But let's see. He said, okay, now listen to this. He says, "A strong nation, like a strong person, can afford to be gentle, firm, thoughtful, and restrained. Mm. It can afford to extend a helping hand to others. It is a weak nation, like a weak person, that must behave with bluster and boasting, and rashness, and other signs of insecurity." Yes. Yeah, right. That's so true. That is so true. Yes. I know. I mean, see, it's interesting. Like there's a time flies. Yes, thank you. And yeah, when you go to nature, you get a good feeling. I'm gonna put that there. But yeah, I mean, so um, yeah. And he says our American values, are not luxuries, but necessities. Not the salt in our bread, but the bread itself. And then let's see. And then I'm going to go back to this. He goes, "The bond of our common humanity is stronger than the divisiveness of our fears and prejudices." I'm going to just go back to that. And then he says, "America did not invent human rights. In a very real sense, human rights invented America." Yeah. Okay. So those are the thoughts that I wanted to put out there. And there's more. You know what I mean? There's so much more. And 100 years is a long time to live. It really is. And oh boy, let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I could talk about. Oh, he talked about Head Start program, which takes care of feeding, like preschool and people, like daycare and feeding people. The Head Start program. Let's see. He expanded it, and let's see. During his term, let's see. He created the education department. Yep. He said education is far too important a matter to be scattered piecemeal amongst various government departments and agencies, which are often busy with sometimes dominant concerns. Oh, yeah. All right. There we go. So, yeah. So, the Department of Education, he expanded LGBTQ rights. Let's see. Oh, yeah. There was a ban on gay and lesbian personnel. And in 77, he invited the LGBTQ into positions, federal, foreign service. Okay. And really, one of the biggest things that he did was he did have some, negotiations between Israel and Egypt, and I talked about that before. And in it was the Arab-Israeli conflict, and they were trying to, they're still working on that, trying to figure out government and how to divide that area. But he was able to get the two presidents at the time, together. Okay. Let me see. Anything else? He tried to, improve relations with Africa. He went to Nigeria in 1978. What else did he do? Addressed the United Nations many times, went to East Asia. Oh my goodness. Yeah, he talked about oh my goodness. Yeah, it just goes on and on. But a lot of this, it was peace, with Iran. Yep, they tried to solve that Iran hostage crisis. It didn't go well. Yeah, the Soviet Union, but he did a lot, and meeting with people. He met with Saudi Arabia. Like I said, he tried to do a lot with Middle East peace. Yeah, so there's that. So that's the bottom line. But like I said, he was a scholar. He was the president. He was the governor of Georgia, and he's everywhere, right? And that's the thing. And the one thing I do want to say was he tried to make his post presidency time useful, and I think that's probably one of the things that if you look at him compared to a lot of the ex presidents, he's done quite a bit, post presidency, and I think that should be a good barometer for a lot of especially if you're a little bit on the younger side. Um, I think it definitely helps because remember, like I said, in my opinion, the presidency is a I'm trying to think. I can't think of the best way to phrase it, but I kind of think of the presidency as a spokesperson for the United States, right? So while they're in office, they're the spokesperson for the USA. So anything they do and say, is on a world stage, and so you know, so even when you leave office, and if you're, and if you can still get around, like you're still kind of on the world stage, maybe in a smaller arena, but those people that are the ex-presidents definitely wield a lot of power and say so. And so, so it's always the hope that they're gonna, wield that power for good. You know what I mean? And so I can definitely say, just kind of in closing, is that Jimmy Carter did that, I think. Yeah. So I don't know. So you tell me what you think. But like I said, go back and maybe look on YouTube and look at what his what his grandchildren said about him. Also, take a listen to. They read a speech from Walter Mondale, who was his vice president at the time. Now, Walter Mondale passed away, but apparently he asked Walter Mondale to write his, to write a speech at his funeral. And so, even though Walter Mondale had passed, I guess one of his children had, and then also Gerald Ford. He asked Gerald Ford, who was, let's see, who came first? Ford, Nixon, Ford, Carter. Yeah. Okay, that's what happened. So he asked Gerald Ford, who he was close to write his, to write a tribute for his funeral, and he did. And Gerald Ford's son actually read it at the funeral. It was very interesting. It was really nice. I said, "Wow!" So he was already planning, his exit. It's very interesting. But boy, people really had a lot of good things to say about him, and I think that's the bottom line. When you leave this world, what impact did you have? Can you do more? Can you give more of your time? Can you give more of your time to service and things like that? Yeah. So, anyway, those are kind of my thoughts on Jimmy Carter, and I hope I did him a little, a little good. I mean, I'm rethinking. Uh, like I said, I've been really, rethinking. You reach a point in your life where you rethink your life and you say, "Man, can I do more? Can I serve more?" And that's one of those things. And like I said last week, I talked a little bit about Martin Luther King, and that was his thing. His thing was service. What can you do? And so I just challenge everybody to kind of put your mind in that terms. And it can be as small as, helping your neighbor down the street, who might need whatever. It could be, getting into government, although that's not my jam. But there's ways that you can serve. You can serve your local community, things like that. So it's amazing. So that being said, I'd like to say thank you so much to everybody who's come in. Let me see. No other quotes. But anyway, let me know in the comments what you think and, what you might be interested in doing for your life, before you check out. You know what I mean? Yeah, let me take a sip. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Carter was everywhere. He was. He was. A lot of diplomacy for sure. Yeah, I'm just checking out. Yeah, there's a lot going on here. Yep. But he was very vocal, and that's the last thing I would say. So that didn't earn him a lot of good graces as well. But I think he had the guts, to say what was on his mind, and I think it's okay to disagree. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people are afraid to say what they're really thinking, and I think that takes guts to do that. So kudos, you know what I mean, to Jimmy Carter. Yep, because he was heavy into politics to the end, right? So there it is. All right now. Well, I think we did it. I'm doing that Dora the Explorer. We did it. All right. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming. I'm going to play out to my theme song, and thank you to Drizzle Stank wherever you are. and thank you so much for supporting the channel. And if I have memberships, if you want to join, please do. And we just like to hang out and talk and do some stuff. Yeah. So, but anyway, you can see me cooking on Fridays. I'll be doing those probably every other Friday, and then motivation on Monday, and then crocheting whenever. I sort of rotate through, but we do that. But let me see. Last two comments. What do we got there? Oh, good thoughts. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. I'll tell you, he's very interesting. Yes. A good person. Right. And I think that's the bottom line is doing better. You know what I mean? We all can't be perfect, but I think doing better, doing the best that you can, but aiming higher. Yep. Are you going to sleep 10 p.m.? Okay, now 40. Thank you so much for, joining the membership and supporting the channel. Really do appreciate you. Appreciate everyone, but it's definitely 4T's kind of new. Yeah. All right now. So rest up. We'll see you guys soon, and thank you. All right now. Take a sip.